This is John Figliozzi of Clifton Park, New York. You're listening to the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
Welcome, everyone, to the International Radio Report for Sunday, April the 27th. My name's Sheldon. I'm here with Jill. As usual, we have 30 minutes of news and information for you from the world of radio here on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal. We have a number of different stories for you today. A couple updates on the situation with American International Broadcasting, and a piece from NPR Radio, and another story about a new documentary about Irish pirate radio. First off, though, we want to remind you that our CKUT annual funding drive is coming up. It is happening on May the 2nd right through May the 11th. The theme of the funding drive this year is Booming and Blooming in Time for Spring. For any of you that have listened to us for many years, you know what the funding drive is all about. It does help us keep CKUT on the air. If you're a regular listener to the station, regular listener to us, if you'd like to chip in with a pledge of any amount, the amount's not important as long as if you like what you're hearing and you want to keep the station afloat, we could use your support. So go to the CKUT website, ckut.ca, and you'll see all the information of how you can make a pledge. There's a donate button right in the top right-hand corner of the page. You can click on that and follow all the instructions from there. And we will be doing 2 shows during the funding drive. And we'll be telling you a lot more about what the funds are used for, and some prizes that will be available. And there are some gifts that are given for certain levels of pledges. So all of that will be explained to you on the website and also on our 2 shows coming up between May the 2nd and May the 11th. So we thank you in advance for your support, and we look forward to reaching the goal. I think it's $55,000 they're shooting for this year.
$55,000, yes, this year.
Yeah, so we hope they will reach that. They were very successful last year, and we hope it is the same this year. So, all right, so let's get to our stories.
Yes. We start with a federal judge that orders Trump administration to rehire Voice of America staff. This is by Jacob Rosen, CBS News. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to rehire all Voice of America, Radio Free Asia, and Middle East Broadcasting Network staff for now. And he said all congressional funding must resume to the outlets which had been effectively shuttered by the administration. D.C. U.S. District Judge Royce Lambert a preliminary injunction on behalf of the plaintiff, VOA journalist Patsy Widakuswara, and her colleagues against Kari Lake, like acting CEO of the U.S. Agency for Global Media. USAGM is supposed to be an independent federal agency overseeing public service media networks. The judge instructed the defendants to take all necessary steps to return the employees and their contractors to their outlets so they can provide news which is consistently reliable and authoritative, accurate, objective, and comprehensive. A preliminary injunction was not granted to Radio Free Europe because it filed a separate lawsuit last month. The Trump administration placed all full-time employees and contractors with the government-funded Voice of America on administrative leave in mid-March. President Trump signed an executive order aiming to make sweeping cuts at the U.S. Agency for Global Media. And we got a little update on the information here.
Yes, this weekend at the 38th annual NASWA SWL Festival, there was a forum talking about the situation of U.S. broadcasting, and in particular international broadcasting. And we learned that the government has filed an appeal against that judge's decision to reinstate and rehire the Voice of America staff. So the appeals judge took a look at it and basically said, no, that's not going to happen. So it's probably going to go up the ladder. It may, who knows, it may end up going as far as the Supreme Court. So right now, we really don't know just exactly what's going to happen. There's a lot of speculation going on. Obviously, it may take a while. In the meantime, things are just on hold. Everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats waiting to find out whether they're going back to work and whether the Voice of America programming will be going out once again. So hopefully for next week's show, we'll have more updates on this story, and we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems here is that the Trump administration has not really obeyed and done anything, even though courts are ruling in favor of so many things, including VOA. They just don't do anything. They just don't follow any of these rulings, which is sad. So in our next news, we have U.S. Armed Forces Network to reduce radio programs next month. This is by Alan Cohn, UPI, via Mike Terry, UK, and Glenn Hauser's World of Radio I.O. group. American Forces Network will reduce radio programming starting on May 1st to better streamline operations, the Department of Defense announced Monday. Removed will be the AFN Legacy, Freedom Rock, The Blend, and Joe Radio, according to a news release. Also, commercially produced podcasts will no longer be available on the audio streaming service AFN Go. The radio network will continue top-rated music, entertainment, and news channels on its AFN Go app. AFN's 24 Eagle radio stations around the world will continue serving U.S. overseas. AFN takes pride in its 83-year legacy of serving U.S. military audiences overseas, a release said. Along with enhancing troop morale, retention, and recruiting, as well as safety and security, AFN continues to live up to its motto, "We bring you home." In the past year, the AFN Go app, which includes video, has seen audience growth of more than 30%, with listeners streaming nearly 480,000 hours of radio programming in January. The AFN Go radio streaming app is free. Armed Forces Radio Services was formed on May 26, 1942, as a single channel and became Armed Forces Radio and Television Service from 1954 to 2009, and then AFN afterward. AFN now also has social media accounts. A television service was introduced in 1954 from Limestone Air Force Base in Maine. While millions of Americans serving overseas have tuned in AFN for popular entertainment, the network has served as a crucial tool for commanders to reach the force and their families, both on and off military installations, with critical information. The Army said on the 80th year of the service in 2022. During World War II, the network communicated messages to American forces advancing in Europe via mobile radio vans. There are approximately 166,000 U.S. active duty troops overseas, which is about 12.8% of the 2.1 million total force, according to USA Facts from the Defense Manpower Data Center. U.S. military personnel worldwide were able to watch the Super Bowl on February 9th and earlier festivities live from New Orleans. Other games were available on the AFN Now app, live and on demand. The second season, this was offered. So it's sad to see that they're cutting down a little bit on that service. I mean, the American Forces Network has been popular and a staple of the military, the U.S. forces around the world for so long. Hopefully, they're not going to cut back too much on what's happening with that.
Some of our longtime shortwave listeners probably remember the shortwave services that we used to receive of the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service that was popular on shortwave bands for many, many years. I remember hearing football games, baseball games, what have you, being broadcast to the troops in different parts of the world. So they have been updating services, of course, using different methods of delivery. But it seems now that some of the services are going to get cut back. So at least it's not disappearing totally.
So what's happening with our sun? Well, our sun has been rather active for the beginning of the week, the weekend to the beginning of the week. Then it actually quieted down. Things as we're recording are actually pretty quiet right now. Funny little story about this is that when there was the geomagnetic storm last week, apparently farm equipment was going wild in the fields because their GPS were just lost their signals. So kind of an interesting, funny story here. We have a sunspot number 152. We have a solar reflex of 170. And there's one sunspot, 4070, that has what it takes for pretty strong solar flares. We'll be examining that. That will probably be what decides if propagation is good this week or not. And when it's good, it's amazing. Do tune the bands. Lots of great signals out there. But for that, you will need one thing. You'll need a radio, and you'll need to turn it on.
I'm Richard Koff of Allentown, Pennsylvania. You're tuned to the International Radio Report. 30 minutes of news about radio on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal.
So next, we have a little story that we have from NPR, which is Tiny Desk launches a radio program on NPR stations by Miles Parks and Anamaria Artemisa Sayre. So we'll be listening to that.
More than 1,200 concerts have taken place here at NPR headquarters, right here in Washington, D.C., where artists squeeze into a tiny desk area while journalists file stories an arm's length away. American singer-songwriter Laura Gibson was the first to take the tiny stage in 2008.
On the day I'll be another waking shadow cast on the covers of your bed.
Since then, it's become an internet sensation with a dedicated fan base. And this weekend, the Tiny Desk became a radio show, only on public radio stations across the country. With us now is Anamaria Sayre, one of the co-hosts of Tiny Desk Radio. Hey, Anamaria.
Hey, Miles. How's it going?
It's fantastic. It's great to have you here. And I feel like I want to start at the beginning because this feels a little bit like a normal part of working at NPR now. Just I'm at my desk and then like Sabrina Carpenter or Usher walks by. But can you talk us kind of through the history? How did the Tiny Desk begin?
Yes, I love to get into the lore. So I think a weird thing that most people don't realize is that this whole thing came to be very organically. So two of my coworkers, Stephen Thompson, Bob Boylan, they were at South by Southwest one year. They couldn't hear the show, and they were like, what if we just invite the artist Laura Gibson to come play literally at our office, which I don't know why no one else before ever had this idea. To me, it's like the most brilliant scheme ever. But since then, it pretty much just kept going. I think that the reason it grew so quickly is because people could feel the organic, the authentic nature of what we do, what artists do behind the space. And so from there, it just has become kind of this pillar for artists' careers where it's really an opportunity for the likes of all kinds of artists, big and small, to come in and really prove who they are musically, to show something that people don't usually get to see. So I think it's just kind of infectious, the energy, and people can feel that, and then they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an internet staple at this point. I feel like when I tell people I work at NPR, a lot of times the first thing they say is like, oh my God, you get to go see the Tiny Desk. But not everything that works online works on the radio and vice versa. And I wonder how you're thinking about bringing this show to the airwaves now.
Yeah, I think because the Tiny Desk lives on YouTube, a lot of times people think of it as a visual platform. But to me, really, the shining, most important and unique element of the Tiny Desk is still the audio. The idea is to keep the arrangement, to keep the instrumentation really stripped back, really as close to what the original music, melody, lyricism was supposed to sound like, so we can really give artists a moment to let their core musically shine. So in that sense, stripping away the visual, having it on the radio actually fits quite nicely, because I think a radio audience is really ready to kind of give the audio that beautiful attention that these mixes deserve.
Well, yeah, I want to dig into the audio a little bit more, because you've produced some of the most successful Tiny Desks in recent years. Most recently, the Bad Bunny Tiny Desk that came out like less than 2 weeks ago and already has like 9 million views on YouTube. What does make the kind of performances special when you strip away all the kind of extra production that people normally hear when they hear a lot of these artists' music?
You know, we're in a really exciting moment musically around the world where production is such a huge part of the art form of music, right? Like, you have all of these incredible pieces of sound that are not just the melodies, that are not just the lyrics, but are that the actual, all of that sound around, all the exciting electronic sound, you name it. It makes it what it is. And I think that's incredible and it has its place. But what Tiny Desk does is it gives these artists the opportunity to come in and actually just say, hey, this is my heart. This is where I was when this first came to be, whether when I first wrote those lyrics down on the page or I first just had that melody occur to me in my dream or whatever it was. And I want to give it to people. And I think that really is something important and valuable and a little bit lost, not in a bad way, but just something that we don't always get to experience at a recording. And so what we really get to do is give people this opportunity to see their favorite artists, to see and hear those sounds that they're crying to at their bedroom, experiencing them in a more authentic, a more rich and more original way. And that is something that I think everyone can find something to grab onto.
That's NPR's Anamaria Sayre, one of the co-hosts of the new Tiny Desk Radio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it's an interesting little story here that we have from NPR.
Yeah, if you're a music fan, for one thing, you may have come across the Tiny Desk concerts on YouTube. They bring in different artists, different types of music, and they literally cram them into a small office, and they do a little concert. So now NPR, as the article said, the recording said, they are going to put it on the radio stations. So that'll be something different. Maybe some people have never been exposed to it on YouTube before, but tuning into NPR, they may start hearing the Tiny Desk program. So I'm a fan of these concerts. They're really great. If you've never listened to them, check them out. And it'll be great to have them on the radio for people to tune into as well.
That's what's fun with NPR, all these little things making us listen to concerts, artists that, regular stations just don't play or don't do anything interesting about. So take a listen to that. It's going to be interesting.
One of my favorite bands is a band called the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and that's a 12-piece band. And they, if you watch the video, they crammed 12 people into this little tiny office, and they did a little concert in there. So it's really quite interesting to listen to. A lot of fun. Our next story is from Radioworld by Nick Langan, and it's about a new documentary exploring the legacy of Irish pirate radio. A new radio documentary captures the impact of Irish pirate radio stations in the 1980s. Russell Padmore, who spent 27 years as a BBC correspondent, said he owes his media career to Irish pirate radio. He was approached by a friend to produce a documentary on how pirate radio stations had a lasting social and cultural effect on areas in Northwest Ireland. The documentary originally aired on Highland Radio in Donegal, Ireland in March. It can be accessed in 3 parts on the Highland Radio website, which is highlandradio.com. In 1985, Padmore, then 27, managed the pirate Northwest Community Radio in Buncrana, where he was also on the air. In 1987, he launched his own pirate operation, KTOK, in Donegal. The pioneers of local radio created a media industry that thrives today, Padmore said of the stations that operated without a license in Ireland. He said the pirates followed in the footsteps of the 1960s UK unlicensed stations that broadcast offshore aboard ships. Padmore said listeners in the Northwest Ireland had as many as 6 pirate stations to choose from over the course of the decade. While it was illegal to broadcast there without permission, he said the government had not yet introduced a framework for broadcast licenses that made it simple for someone with entrepreneurial spirit to start a station. The documentary features commentary from Daniel O'Donnell, the Irish country singer and TV host, who said pirate radio was important to his early career. O'Donnell's music could be heard on several pirate stations, including some in Donegal, that played country music. Padmore said that pirate stations in Dublin, such as Sunshine and Radio Nova, drew larger audiences than the Irish public broadcaster RTE. Michael Bradley, guitarist for the Undertones, spent time on air at a pirate station in Donegal, and his recollections are also featured. It was a cottage in the middle of nowhere, kind of basic, but it had electricity. There was a tower outside. There was a transmitter outside. I really enjoyed it, Bradley said in the documentary. The pirates even had a social impact before the Good Friday Agreement. Jackie Crossan, founder of Northwest Community Radio, said in the documentary that reception in Northern Ireland allowed the station to reach audiences in Derry and Limavady. Padmore said the pirates helped unite listeners on both sides of the Irish border. The 3-part documentary can also be accessed on Padmore's YouTube channel. You can find that at YouTube at Cool Radio News. So an interesting story. We hear a lot about pirate radio in the UK, but I hadn't heard very much about the pirate stations in Ireland. So that'll be an interesting documentary to check out.
Always fun to have these little radio history videos and documentaries that give us an idea of what it looked like in the past and pirate stations and the activity that was all around. It's always fun.
This weekend, we're actually recording our show at the 38th annual NASWA's SWL Festival in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. We have over 185 people participating in the weekend. And we're going to check in with a few people, get some observations on how things have been going as of the end of day 1 of the festival. We have with us Skip Airy from New Jersey, ham call N2EI. Skip, how are you doing, and how have you enjoyed the festival so far?
Oh, always fun. I'm one of the originals. Been to them all. Doing this one from Zoom, but it's always good. The forums are always informative. It's especially fun to try to find information I haven't run across in previous presentations. But for me, at this stage, after being involved for so many years, it's kind of mostly fun to just get together with folks I've come to know over the years and become close friends with, and catch up and see what different radio things we've been doing over the past year, and it's always an event I look forward to.
We noticed this year that a number of new topics have been explored. A lot of interest in software-defined radios. We had one presentation earlier today. We have another one scheduled for tomorrow. It seems to be the latest hot innovation in what we do, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because I think the running dark humor within our hobby is those of us that participated 20 or 30 years ago would have given probably our firstborn child for one of these SDR radios to hear all the stuff that was available back then. And now you can basically take something out of your pocket and have it compete head-to-head with some of the multi-$1,000 surplus military receivers we used to use back in the 70s.
Exactly. I think they were well received, those sessions. All of the sessions, I think, have been well received. We got a full schedule of events again coming up for Saturday. And so everybody looking forward to the rest of the events. So thanks for stopping in with us here. We'll check in with a couple other people, see how they've been enjoying things, and we'll catch you at some of the events tomorrow. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Skip.
Okay, who's the next victim? Steve. Where'd Steve go? He disappeared. Steve, are you there?
Good evening. Yes, thank you.
Hey, there you are. Okay. Gilles, you want to take this one with Steve?
Yep. Hi, Steve. So
Good evening.
it's, of course, the Shortwave Festival going on. And what are your impressions? Is there something that, you find interesting? Is it something that you still find cool and fun after all these years?
No, I like the hospitality room. I've been to one or two of the sessions, but what struck me is when the gentleman was the correspondent for VOA, Mr. Herman or Sherman, spoke the session earlier this afternoon. It brought me back to the very first QSL card I received was VOA from Greenville, North Carolina, going back to '73. Growing up in suburban Chicago, when my mom presented it to me, I came home from school, and that was the very first QSL card I got. And so it's sad that's what's going on, with VOA. You would never have guessed that, it would be possibly shut down or such, but hopefully not. But it made me reminisce about, it's so exciting to receive that first QSL card. The first broadcast I heard and first QSL card, it was wonderful. So to me, that's reminiscing, and I look forward to the other sessions, including utilities.
Oh, yes. I will be doing utilities.
Yes, I thought so.
That's going to be interesting. And I think it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been to a festival, unfortunately. Life and school got in the way, but I've been to a number of these online and very much enjoy them. And I'm a part of the BADX community here in the Boston area, and always great fun to tune into that and CIDX.
This is what's fun with the hybrid event now. The fact that there's a Zoom part, you can have people that are not attending in person actually are available and are with everybody else. And of course, the hospitality suite that we are in right now, which is a nice add-on to the fest. So thank you so much, Steve.
Of course, thank you. I'm still wondering when the hors d'oeuvres are going to be served in the hospitality suite, but I'm waiting.
We're going to try to do that.
We haven't figured out virtual food yet, so that's unfortunate. But anyways, thanks for being with us. That was Steve Gerberding from the Lexington, Massachusetts area, and we thank him for being with us here today as well.
So we're pretty much out of time at this point.
Okay. Well, yeah, our 30 minutes always goes by quickly. Thanks to Skip Barry and to Steve Gerberding for joining us here today. And for you for listening. We'll be back next week. We'll be kicking off the CKUT Funding Drive. So we hope you will tune in then. Thanks for listening to our International Radio Report. If you want to reach us, our email address is radioreport@yahoo.com. We are live streaming and archived at ckut.ca. And our program is also archived on our YouTube channel. Look for us at youtube.com/@IRR. And of course, we have our Facebook group. We invite you to join us there and post up messages, interact with other listeners, and just have fun with radio. That's what it's all about. Tune in next week. We thank you for tuning in today to the International Radio Report on CKUT 90.3 FM in Montreal. Have a great week, everyone.
Be prepared next week. It's one of our first, our two shows actually, that will be Funding Drive. We need to stay on the air for a long time. Take care of everybody. Bye-bye.